Okay, so this is big idea number 2. This is the work energy theorem. And a lot of people get this messed up, but it's really, really, really not that hard. We really have 2 definitions of work. Okay, one definition of work is a force applied over a distance. So I can take my box and I can push it and I can apply a force to it over a distance. So here's my force, and then I move it this far, my distance, and then I can get my work. Okay? So that's one definition of work. But work also causes a change in energy, because you have to remember your force is your mass times your acceleration, correct? Well, if you're accelerating, you're changing your velocity. Yes? And so if you're changing your velocity, you're changing your kinetic energy. Okay? So work also causes a change in kinetic energy. As I apply my force to this box, I am increasing its speed, and so it gets more and more kinetic energy, and it can go faster and faster and faster. But I can also take this box and not just move it sideways, I can lift it up. Okay, I'm applying a force upwards over a distance upwards. Okay, and now I'm not changing its kinetic energy, I'm changing its potential energy. How do you know which one to use? It really depends on what you're given. Okay, if you're given a force, okay, if the problem does give you a force, then yeah, you're going to use force times distance to get your work. But sometimes it tells you that the object changes its velocity. If the object's going to change its velocity, then it's changing its kinetic energy. And so you're probably going to make that equal to your work done. Okay? Instead of going and finding your acceleration with your change in velocity, and then finding how far it went, it's much easier to just use the change in kinetic energy, or sometimes it'll be the change in gravitational potential energy. Generally, it's the change in kinetic energy, but sometimes it is the change in gravitational potential energy, because remember, energy is the ability to do work, so change in energy goes to work. This idea of the work energy theorem also comes into play when we're talking about our power, because we define power as our work divided by our time, but it's also your change in energy divided by time. So don't get hung up on the idea of work, because work can also be change in energy, and that's the big idea. Work can be change in energy, so you need to think about that when you're solving your problems.